Interesting one for you now. This is the video that I've wanted to do for quite a long time really, because I was high pitched. In a few of my videos in the past, I've always spoken about looking at the weather models, and I know some of you aren't really familiar with what the weather models are, and I do apologise for that. And also, I always say don't take it as gospel, or they're not pinning the colours to the mast, them sort of phrases that Nodrog always comes out with, and I want to explain that a little bit for you. Why? First, we're going to talk about the weather models. Very quickly, weather models are computer systems all around the world. Many organisations or countries have weather models. The UK Met Office has one, Europe has one, America, Japan, so on and so forth. Some weather models are better at others. In a way, they're better at forecasting certain types of weather because they're used to seeing that impact happening over that particular area. So, for instance, the European models, it's said that they are very good at predicting snow, or forecasting snow, should I say. The UK Met Office is very good with the wind and the wet, of course. America, very good in other areas as well with what they want to forecast. And this is a variation that a lot of meteorologists like. This is what meteorologists and this is what a lot of meteorologists like, because they'll look at a specific weather model for a specific type of weather, and then if you really know your onions, then you're going to go across to another weather model and have a look at what they're saying, and then you go to another weather model and have a look at what they're saying, and then you kind of get yourself an idea of what's going on. But in general terms, it is good to have an overall view of what the different weather models are saying. And you as a human being, there's a squishy thing behind that computer, is fantastic at being able to remember what you've seen on a particular day with a particular forecast, and bring them two together with your own local knowledge to try and work out what the weather's got in store. However, there is a caveat, and this applies to all weather models. See, a lot of the weather models will come out at a certain time of the day. They refresh, they start again. So let's just say the GFS, which is one that's well known. What that one does is it comes out at midnight, then it comes out at 6 o'clock in the morning, midday, 6 o'clock in the evening, but it takes time for that to roll out. So when you're looking at a particular weather event on a particular day, the weather model before that, the run before that, may have said something different to what it said on the new one. Follow me, you'll get me on this one. So let's say the 12 o'clock, the midday one, came out and said there's going to be a lot of snow or some thunderstorms across the Midlands. It looks really good. Oh, everyone gets excited. It's always good to maybe wait and have a look at the next run and then the next run to see what the difference is, because you can guarantee most times, especially over a longer period of time between the event from happening to the present day, that you'll find that the confidence is low. Now, I've used some words there that a lot of the meteorologists like to hear. Confidence, you get better confidence with the model runs the closer to the date or event that occurs. Say, for instance, it's a week off or 15 days off. Confidence is always low. So you might get a weather run that the model puts out, and it says massive gales for the Hebrides or something similar to that on a particular day, 15 days from now. And a lot of people jump on that. Oh my God, there's going to be gales, there's going to be a massive storm or snowmageddon. And all the papers pick up on it and start splashing it. Oh, in 10 days time, there's going to be this, there's going to be that. And it doesn't. Because confidence becomes lower. Because it either downgrades that event, or in fairness, sometimes it can upgrade that event. So for watching the weather models, and I've put all the links in the description area down below for you to be able to learn this yourself, all the weather models will change over a period of time. And obviously the closer to the day of the event, say for instance there's hints of snowfall occurring across Wales, say it's like 3 days in advance, that's when confidence starts to gain. 5 days, you can be confident, you've got a general idea of what's going on, but when you get down to 3 days, that is really when you should start looking and noticing what's going on. Having said that, technology has moved on so much. We've got AI weather models, which I'm new to now, that are learning. It takes a long time for them to learn because they look at previous data, going over many dates, going back many years, and then they look at the data that's been collected by all the thousands and thousands of data collection sites, whether at sea, in the air, as regards weather balloons, or official weather stations. You know, these massive mega computers are doing all this number crunching, which in turn, as time's gone on, has increased the confidence of the 3-day and the 5-day bracket. Others may disagree, whatever, doesn't matter, but I've seen variations where things have downgraded and upgraded or completely been cancelled, and it's not even happened. You see, sometimes with weather systems, you'll see on a 5-day forecast that you've got a massive storm that's coming to the north of Scotland, and you're, oh crikey, let's start making plans to go up there. 3 days later, comes down towards Wales, North Wales, Cumbria, Northwest England, South Scotland. Oh, okay, right, this is it, we're getting on. The night before, I've seen it shift by a couple of 100 miles back up to Scotland. And lo and behold, generally, that's the case, even when on the cusp of a storm system coming into the country. And we're talking hours. The storms themselves can just change their minds due to the parameters, because the weather is so dynamic and fluid, and it can just change by 100 miles. So we can position ourselves for storm chasing, thunderstorms or snow. You can position yourself, and then within a matter of hours, it does change again. It is a massive game of cat and mouse. Now, I don't want to bog you down with negatives. You gain a lot of experience going out there chasing weather, as I've done over the years. And you've got that in mind, you've got that in your toolbox in your head, and you're thinking, right, okay, this potentially could happen. And you don't stop looking at weather models. Even if you're out there in the field or on the day itself or the hour before, you're looking at weather models. Even though you've seen them 6 hours before, you're looking at them again, just to give you a better idea of what the weather's going to be. Now, I use many websites to look at different weather patterns and weather forecasts. MetCheck, which I love MetCheck. It's bold, it's brash, it does exactly what it says on the tin, and it's one of my go-to websites, has been for a very long time. For higher resolution or for comparison, then I'll go over to NetWeather. I don't mind Windy. Windy's alright, that gives you some great resolution, and you can change things and things like that. And the Zoom Earth, which is one I've been using recently as well, which is pretty neat. I quite enjoy using that. But a lot of us go to NetWeather because of what they've got available as regards to weather models. For instance, on NetWeather, you've got charts and data. GFS weather charts comes up as one of the main things, but over here on the right hand side, they can give you different types of weather maps and charts that you want to look at, all depending on what type of weather that you want to try and get yourself focused. So we've got the GFS charts, there's a NetWX model, these are samples, which I'm not going to go into today, rain rainfall, so on and so forth, storm risks, snow maps, light detectors, and then you've got the extra where you can pay to see more. I mentioned before about these different weather models. You've got the GFS, you've got the UK Met Office, you've got the European ones, the MOGREPS. There's so many different ones, and in fairness, you could get bogged down by looking at too many. In essence, I only tend to look at 2 or 3 at the most. But the GFS, the Met Office, and the ECM, the European one, does tend to be the better ones that I like to look at. So we're looking at the GFS. We'll go to the GFS. And what I noticed this morning was I was looking to see any snow events, any gale events that I can do weathers on. So we've got NetWeather have split it into 2. So you can compare the 2 together, which is absolutely fantastic. So we're going to cut to the chase. We're going to go straight down to snow risk. The chance of it, the likely chance of it going to snow. Bear in mind, this is on the current run. So the current run that's available now has come out, and at the top of this, it says run Tuesday, the 13th of January, 6 o'clock in the morning. So this one here on my left-hand side is the current run. That was at 6 o'clock this morning. This is what it was showing as regards the date today being Tuesday, 13th at 9 o'clock. Time's elapsed by then, especially if you're just watching this video. If we go to the midnight run and wait for it to update, you can see there's a slight change now. Now, that was this morning, and this is the snow risk. The snow level obviously has to come down to the ground for it to be able to snow, be classed as snow. But it's important to watch, because I noticed when I was scooting ahead, quite far ahead on the charts just to get a general idea of what the state of play is. There was a massive difference. So you saw on the previous chart then that there wasn't much of a change. However, on this, you'll see a huge change. And there we go. So this on the left was 6 o'clock this morning. That's the model run that was run at 6 o'clock this morning. The one on the right hand side was the run that happened at 12 o'clock at midnight this morning. This is all for the same date, way off in the future, Wednesday the 28th of January at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. What a difference. Can you see what I mean? There is such a difference between the model runs. Now, I'm not going to say that this will stay the same now forever. As I was explaining before at the beginning of the video, it won't. It'll change again. It'll change again and again. It's a little bit like a yo-yo. If you just let the yo-yo go, it'll go up and down and up and down, and eventually it'll find a steady position where it wants to stay, where it equals itself out, it balances itself out. And this is what the weather models are doing. Like the weather tries to balance itself out, these weather models are doing exactly the same. They're trying to balance out to provide us with the best forecast possible. Now, as I was saying before, 3 days to 5 days, between 3 and 5 days, is pretty smart now as regards to the data and the charts that are available. Anything beyond that, confidence starts to run low. So today being the 13th, and this chart being the 28th, we are in excess of 10 days, 2 weeks off, basically, when this weather could occur. Now, either those two could play out, but what you notice is, what you do tend to pay attention to is the fact that there is signals here of snow. And looking at certain areas of Scotland, to the left and to the right, and then down towards the Midlands of the left and the right one, you can it's still wanting to provide a snow risk for that area. Now we'll carry on, and you can see how they're changing. The snow risk on the left hand side is obviously dramatically less than what it is on the right hand side. And it's not just for snow risk. The same thing can happen with thunderstorms or gale storms or anything to do with the weather. There's so many variables. You've got humidity, you've got air pressure, so on and so forth. Now, on this chart, on the left, we have the run that came out this morning at 6 o'clock. And on the right, this is the midnight run. So we've got the current run on the left, and we've got the midnight run on the right. And this was for 6 o'clock this morning, which time again has elapsed by quite a few hours. If you look carefully at the details of the maps, they are very similar because the confidence was much greater and much higher. Above Scotland, going towards the east of Greenland or Iceland, you can see a low pressure system. And on the left chart, which was the run that came out at 6 o'clock this morning, has actually potentially made it a little bit deeper. The air pressure is a little bit deeper than the one on the right. But there's not much in it. They're pretty much bang on. I'm going to animate it now and just watch carefully on both the left and the right. The current run on the left and the previous run on the right hand side. As time's going on, we're going into Friday now and then into Saturday. You can see that there is similarities. This is the 3-day. As we're running now into the 4th day and to the 5th day, you will start to see variations. We're now on to Tuesday, and both the maps are starting to look very different. On the previous run, it was introducing much colder air into the United Kingdom, potentially from the east, as compared to the current run on the left, which is a little bit delayed in bringing that cold air in. So we're going to just stop it there. This is now for the 26th, Monday 26th of January. So we're now 13 days ahead. There was a delay by about a day, I think about a day or two, between the introduction of that cold air. Now this isn't gospel, this isn't going to say that this is exactly what's going to happen, but both runs are showing a similar feature of that cold air coming in from the east. What they're not showing together is a low pressure system out in the Atlantic. So on the current run, there is no low pressure system there at all. There's a slight potential ridge going on, that's about it, if that or anything. But on the right hand side, on the run that came out at midnight, there is a low pressure system there. The left run again is showing deeper blues coming in from the east. Potentially this is what people start getting excited about, the beast from the east. You need a bit more to it than just that, because the right hand side run is showing milder air just off the coast of Ireland in the Atlantic Ocean, with the low pressure system there that probably carried by the jet stream wants to push itself towards the UK. Colder air coming in from the east. You know that. You spray fresh water into your freezer, it's going to freeze up instantly, and that's how we end up getting snow. That is how you forecast and you look at that. So it's important to practice every single day looking at the weather models, remembering what you'd seen and what you want to look out for, and keep following that track and that path. Because if we start seeing colder air coming from the east repeating itself on the model runs as time goes on, then there's confidence building, and then we know that there's some sort of weather event that's going to occur. And that's fairly it, really. That is pretty much it. Just what I wanted to touch on today, to try and explain to you that if you do start looking at weather models and forecast models, then be prepared to see changes. Don't be disappointed if you don't see a weather Armageddon occurring or anything like that. This is what Mother Nature does. She likes to pull, she likes to push, she messes around with you, she gets you excited, she lets you down. And one of the most fantastic things about the weather is its variability and the way that it does mess with you. A little bit like I've said, it's a little bit like fishing. You can sit there for hours and nothing happens. Sometimes you get a tiddler, sometimes you get a big fish. And that is one of the reasons why I like the weather. The variability and the unknown of what the weather is going to do, and then it starts to deliver. And you get excited then for a weather event because you want to be part of that. You want to feel the energy and you want to witness something that's happening across the land. Unlike 100 years ago or 50 years ago, we've now got the age of mobile phones, smartphones, and weather models that we can go onto, and we can see it brewing, we can see it occurring, and get an idea of what the weather is going to be like in the times to come. Now, if you've got any questions, please put them in the comment section area down below. Hope that gives you an insight of what it's like to be model watching and trying to find out exactly what Mother Nature has got in store. Until next time, keep those batteries charged.